Well, hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Joyful Julie Live. I am Joyful Julie Griffin, for those of you who may not know me. Thanks again for joining me tonight. I'm excited for our show tonight. I've got a fun guest lined up. If you've been following us on our LinkedIn events, there has been a lot of banter going back and forth. So without further ado, I'm going to bring the man out himself, Mr. Anthony Jones.
Hey, Julie.
Hey, Anthony. How's it going?
Going great. Thanks for having me. When a celebrity asks you to come on their show, you always say yes. That's like a life lesson that I've learned. So thrilled to be here. Absolutely.
So I think I've never been referred to as a celebrity, but I will just smile and say, yes, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Well, and I got to say, I'm really glad you're here because, some of my people made it sound like I might have to worry about you standing me up. And I wasn't so sure what to think about that.
Lies. No, that's a whole other story. Nathan and Chris, let's just say I made amends with Chris for the calendar mishap years ago or a year ago. We've made up. Nathan seems to still be pretty raw over the deal. But I wasn't going to have another calendar mix up tonight. So I'm here. I'm on time. And happy to be here.
That's good. Hey, Andrew. Yeah, taking a quick snack break. That is always good. Hey, Val. We've got lots of people in the comments. I think Nathan pretty much stays salty. So we can take that with the, I guess the shot of tequila, since he's already salty. We'll can't take it with another grain of salt.
There we go.
But yeah, so thanks you guys who are here for commenting. Like, that's how we know you're here. So please continue. That's how we'll have a good conversation. So, when I started my live show, I really didn't have any idea like what I wanted to actually talk about. Hello from Richmond, Virginia. And I really just wanted to make sure I was getting people on here who are doing good work, who are just fun people that I, enjoy talking to, and figure, what? The rest of my world needs to know people like this. So, of course, thought of you. We've been connected. I went back and looked. We connected in November of 2020, which is actually earlier than I thought it was. But I remember when I really first started using LinkedIn is more than just, a place to, update your work history or whatever. Anthony's wisdom. That's good. Glad you're here, Dan. I learned a lot from you. And so I was like, you know what? Might as well bring him on. You're doing great things. And so that's why you're here. So just to get started, why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit about like your kind of career journey? Knowing you were at Ducks Unlimited, that was one of the reasons why I connected with you, because outdoor people got to stick together.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I started my career when I graduated from Ole Miss in 2001. So I just dated myself really clearly right there. Worked for International Paper for about a year and a half doing web development. My wife had told me that through a connection of hers, Ducks Unlimited had a opening for a webmaster position. Again, this is 2002. It was a one-person show where I basically just was responsible for posting content to the website. But I applied. I was lucky. I got the job. I described it then, and I described it all the way to the day I left, really as my dream job, because growing up, going to Ducks Unlimited events, hunting, fishing with my dad, like that was my life. And to be able to go to an organization and have a 20-year career there, where I started as a webmaster, and then as it was just this really amazing stroke of fortunate events. As the digital revolution took off, as online fundraising became important, as social media, came to the scene, mobile apps, I had a really cool opportunity to build a team and build a department from the ground up that managed all of the digital media and marketing properties and programs for the organization, including online fundraising. And it was just a phenomenal ride. It was a team that I was just absolutely blessed beyond measure to have. And through all of their work, we raised over $40 million directly through our digital properties, through our website, while I was there. And yeah, fantastic journey there. And in November of last year, I decided to kind of take this leap into the world of entrepreneurship and starting my own consulting business. And that really started back in 2020. So the short version of that is, COVID hits, pandemic, world shuts down. Like a lot of people, I had spare time. And I started noticing that people were reaching out to me, asking me for help optimizing their profile. Some people, again, they just had extra time on their hands. Others had been let go from their jobs. They were asking for help. And that kind of turned into a side business that built some momentum, some steam over the next year and a half, to a point where last November it was either time to go all in or not. And I made the leap then, and that's what I'm doing today, which is LinkedIn coaching and personal brand consulting.
That's awesome. Yeah. 40 million, that kind of blew my mind too. That's a lot of dollars. Like
a lot of dollars. It's a big number. We were very fortunate for a couple of reasons. Yes, we had the Ducks Unlimited brand. We had the mission. We had that supporting us. We also had, as I mentioned, just a kick-ass team of people who were the best at what they did, making my job really easy. But yeah, 40 million at the end of a career was a sort of a capstone, and I was thrilled to be able to be a part of that. But the team was the one that certainly made it happen, and made it happen for a great cause that I cared a lot about. That's awesome.
That's really cool. So in 2020, when you said you had some spare time on your hands, and people were reaching out to you, what did that look like as far as like where you were at in your like LinkedIn journey and using it for what it could be used for?
Yeah. So to take a step back, like in 2017, 2018, I started getting more active on LinkedIn from just a personal standpoint. And I think what kind of drove me to do that was our team was in charge of all social media. And the one channel that I did not have much experience with was LinkedIn. It was an area where we wanted to grow our organizational brand, on that channel. So I felt like I needed that to be hands-on with it. So if I'm going to be in charge of the program, I need to know something about it. And I just started posting content really as an experiment to learn, to see what works, what didn't work. Because especially a few years ago, and even today, LinkedIn is still such a mystery for so many people, right? They don't know how to interact with the platform. They don't know how to post content. They don't know what's appropriate. It's just a different animal from all other social media platforms. And over time, really just through trial and error, I started posting content. I started building, a network of followers, and I was really paying attention to people who had really large followings. And, to call them I hate using the word influencers, but there are true influencers on every platform.
Yeah.
And there were a handful of folks that I noticed that were standing out, and there were 2 or 3 things that they all had in common. One is they were being authentic. They were showing their personality through their content, which most people don't do. They were also using humor. Like most people, the stigma or whatever you want to call it of LinkedIn is it's not a place to be funny. It's a place to be, polished, professional content only. But what I noticed was they stood out, and they were building their personal brand in the process. And like before that, I had never even probably heard the term personal brand, but it really intrigued me. And I thought, okay, I want to try to emulate what they're doing. And it was really just saying, okay, I'm going to start putting myself out there through content, and, trying to see what works, what doesn't. I had a lot of failures. I had a few wins, but over time, and this is what you know very well, because you've done a fantastic job of building your brand over the last couple of years. It's that consistency that separates people who, kind of start out on LinkedIn and fall off, and those who truly excel whether it's for building their personal brand, whether it's, accelerating their career or advancing their business. Like, it's that consistency that is everything. And so really it was just a lot of trial and error and posting a lot of content, trying to have fun along the way, like, because I started to realize really quickly people connected with the content that was down to earth, that was humor, that was relatable. Content that I posted about my family, something that was humorous, me trying to be funny, whatever. Like, that was the content that stuck, and not the business content that you typically associate, being successful on LinkedIn. And that's, that all led to me, being able to build up and start a side business that turned into a full-time business. Yep. That was a really long-winded to your question.
No, that's okay. I think it kind of has to be, because it's not just, 2 or 3 quick things that led you to where you are now. Like, it's been an entire journey and learning experience, and it's kind of hard to sum that up in just a few words. There were a couple things that you mentioned while you were kind of explaining that journey that I'd love for you to expand on some more. For, I think, most of us who are probably here, especially if you're on LinkedIn, I need to check the Facebook side, see if anybody's watching over there. So yeah, Facebook people, if you're watching, please comment, because I can't tell if you're watching yet. But what does, personal brand mean? When somebody says you need to build your personal brand, or this is your personal brand, or whatever, what does that mean?
Yeah. So think of it like this. We all have a personal brand. Like, if you're online in any capacity, you already have a digital footprint of some sort, right?
Right.
And so I always say you have 2 choices when it comes to your personal brand. One is you can choose to take control of it, to tell your story through your words, through your content, and position yourself as a thought leader in your industry. That's one option. And the other option is you can have your personal brand be defined by others. Because again, if you're out there in any capacity, that brand is there. So like, I make the choice. I'm going to control my brand. I'm going to build my brand and influence what, what I want people to think of and know of, and how I want them to perceive me as a professional. That's really what personal branding is all about. And a lot of people, I think, overthink it. They feel like, well, personal branding is just for influencers, or for celebrities, or for people who already have, hundreds of thousands of followers. But we all have a personal brand. It's some people choose to take control of it, and some do not. Yep,
absolutely. And yes, Nathan Anthony is here in the house, in the
on
flesh,
time and everything. Yeah.
Yep. I want to pop up this one. LinkedIn doesn't support laughter. She tries not to be funny because there's no laughing reaction. So true. We have been petitioning for that for forever.
Years.
Yeah, Jacob, I think he's been the driver behind that petition to get the laughing reaction. We still got no respect. We got nothing. So
I actually started an event or some page that's got a couple of hundred followers now, and I don't do anything with it, but I was thrilled to see that other people were like, yeah, give us, if you're going to give us that weird purple guy that no one knows what the hell it is, or when to use it. And honestly, when some people use it, you get offended because, again, nobody really knows. If you're going to give us that, you can at least give us or trust us to use a laughing emoji properly in the professional world. I don't get it.
For real. We still
creepy
have
purple baby. Yeah.
For real. Yeah. Usually I use that one very sparingly. Like, it says it's curious, but usually if I use it, I'm literally like, what? Like,
yeah.
What? Like,
it's close to a middle finger, but not quite the middle finger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Hey, Shannon, we're glad you're here too. So that brings me to the other thing that I keyed in on when you were talking, and I think it's one of your hashtags, but it's LI appropriate. So LinkedIn appropriate. People talk about this is a professional platform, or this isn't Facebook, and all that other stuff that people try and say about what you're supposed to post on LinkedIn. So how did you come up with that hashtag? There's got to be a story behind it, I'm sure, and what that means.
Yeah. So I like years ago, this was probably like 2018, 19, as I started posting content that was a little bit outside of the norm.
Mm-hmm.
What a lot of people would say, this belongs on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
or just the comment, this snarky comment that just says Facebook in response to a post that you made. And I had my fair share. I had a lot of those comments actually over the course of a year or so. And one day I just decided to make a post that said, hey, and I don't have the post in front of me. It's been years since I saw it, but we're not constrained just because some trolls out there say that we should be.
Right.
LinkedIn has made very conscious efforts to become a social media network, a platform, not just a job posting site that it was 10 or 15 years ago, even though that's how so many people still think of it in 2022. And I don't know what comment drove me to create that, but I started using it one day. It started to stick. I started to use it in every post, and I still use it occasionally in some of my content today. I used to be really big on hashtags in general. I would go like way overboard with hashtags, where I would make a post and then I would include like 20 hashtags below it that were meant to like continue the story or just add a little bit of humor. But then like in 2019, 2020, LinkedIn started really using or enforcing hashtags to be used the way they were supposed to be used, which is, categorizing content. And I started to notice I'd get penalized in organic reach if I used, an excessive amount. So kind of changed strategies there. But that was the origin of the LI appropriate hashtag. And I love seeing it now pop up in occasional posts that other people are making. Just saying, hey, it's you say what you want to say on LinkedIn. And it's appropriate. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Because honestly, and you didn't say the actual phrase that I think most of us attribute to you, but it's people connect with people. And it's not just who you are in your business realm or what your company does. It's like who you are as an individual and what makes us us. And so when you're talking about taking control of your personal brand and wanting to, control the narrative of how people view you and who you are, like anything can fall into that LI appropriate because it's who we are. You mentioned you'd share a picture of like your family or something and it would get way more traction than like a strictly business post. Like it's still true. Like I post a picture of a calf and it goes bonkers. And then like my post today, which I thought, it's really thought out. It's got some good content to it. Couple of tags, relevant. That baby tanked. That baby tanked. So
you never know what's gonna tank, and but you're exactly right that people connect with people. I've said that for years. I say that in every time I bring on a new client, every time I'm in a coaching session, like start with that mentality. As you start posting content on LinkedIn, just keep that in the back of your head or write it down on a Post-it note, put it on your computer, because if you follow just that simple mentality, that will help you drive a lot of the content that's going to connect. People don't connect with the corporate press releases that most people share or reshare, which, by the way, folks, if you're resharing content and that's all you do, please stop. That's worthless. You're wasting your time. LinkedIn does not like reshares on its own platform. They like original content. But being human, being relatable, that's what people are going to connect with. And if you're doing business, if you own a business, we do business with people we like, we know, we trust, and remember.
Absolutely.
And it's that content where you're connecting with each other through your content that's going to make you memorable and more likely for someone to reach out. And like a lot of what I teach in my program is like how to drive inbound leads where people are coming to you as opposed to you having to pitch to them. That makes all the difference in personal branding.
Yep, absolutely. I think there's a party going on in the comments, and it's kind of distracting. But
I was trying to stay focused. I could see you kind of veering off, and I was like, okay, don't get distracted because I will completely lose my train of thought.
Well, it's good because I think it was relevant too. So Angeli, gotta make sure I show the right comment. So she said, I connect with snacks, which sounds like an off-the-wall comment, but that's how you can build rapport with people, by talking about off-the-wall things like snacks, because it's like, oh, you like this hot tamales or hot tamale flavored Peeps? How were those, by the way?
Yeah. Phenomenal. Game changer.
I never did find any. Like, I would have liked to try those. Like, I
didn't see them either. My wife came home from Walgreens one night and she said, here. She just knew that I would like them, and I devoured the whole pack like in way too short of a time period. But I did take a picture of it and I posted it on LinkedIn, and like the response was overwhelming in terms of overall engagement. And 99% of the people were telling me that I was absolutely insane for eating hot tamale Peeps. LinkedIn made it very clear that was not a snack of their choice. But little things like that, we remember. I did a pop-up live a few weeks ago, and I was talking about Chris Hennessy, who, by the way, everyone, he is the mastermind behind the scenes right now, making all these graphics, making sure that we show up and everything works great. If you need live streaming help, that's the guy you need to go to.
Amen.
But he did a pop-up live one day, and he made some comment. A question was asked, what's your favorite snack? He said chocolate. That's his weakness. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big chocolate guy, but like I remember that one little human fact about Chris. Yep. And it's amazing. Those little small tidbits go a long way in starting conversations that can lead to, meaningful conversations. Mm-hmm. And that's just one example.
Yep, absolutely. I love it when I share something about, cows or life on the farm, and people will pop in comments like, oh, I used to live on a farm, or my grandpa had cows and I love cows. And it's like, it's such a random thing, but it gives you that human connection. I just had a conversation with somebody, I guess it was yesterday. God, it seems like forever ago. But she said she used to live on a farm or grew up on a farm. And so I was like, hey, farm girls need to get together. So we got together on Zoom and had a chat. And now awesome. I know more about what she does, and she knows more about what I do. And if the opportunity comes along to, share or refer, then that's somebody I feel comfortable doing that with, because I know we're on a more personal basis now.
Absolutely.
So, that is a great quote, DJ.
Well said, DJ. Yes, absolutely.
Very good.
I know you're like asking me questions, but I'm going to ask you a question, because I've been working on building this business up for the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. You're doing the same. Mm-hmm. Talk to me. How is it going? What's it been like? What type of challenge? Like, I have millions of challenges as a new business owner. And I'm curious to get your perspective and just see kind of where you are on your journey, because you have had one of the most roller coaster years of your life. That's just one way to put it. There's probably many better ways to put it. I want to share a story later about the day that your house burned and my experience with my kids. But kind of tell us a little bit more about where you are in your journey and your business. Okay.
Well, Chris, so many challenges. Roller coaster of a year, that's pretty appropriate. I never wanted to be my own boss. Like, the idea of working for myself was never appealing. And then when I, suddenly found myself without a job, it, became to be a very real possibility. So mid-November, about the same time that you launched, I decided, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. Might as well give this thing a try. And I didn't really know where I was going to focus. Eventually drilled down to, customized corporate training is like the easiest way to explain it, but doing training for companies who have that want to provide professional development for their leadership teams, or people who are being promoted into leadership roles who may not have had any formal training previously, specifically in the realm of like time management and productivity. Like, that's that's kind of my sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
Also other topics such as like leadership, communication, problem solving, things like that. It all kind of fits into that kind of squishy area of professional development. I've had a few jobs. I just landed my first monthly client, which is super exciting.
Awesome.
And actually, I don't think I've shared that at all. So yeah, loud and proud.
Congratulations.
I've got my first monthly client.
That's a huge deal. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, it is. And so one of my biggest challenges that I'm working on ripping the Band-Aid off of, and Chris and I were talking about this earlier, is I don't talk about what I do nearly enough. Like when I first started on LinkedIn, it was very much just for fun, because in my previous role, I didn't need to drive any business or anything. And so it was really just, building relationships and getting to know people and, working on my personal brand, who I am, not what I do. That was kind of a big hurdle for me at the beginning. And so now I'm trying to, flip it and talk more about what I do and how I can help people or help your teams with productivity and things like that. So that's probably my biggest challenge, is actually talking about myself and what I actually do and have to offer. Aside from just being, like Jacob said, the cowgirl.
So have you found it to be more challenging than you expected, about what you expected? Like where are you there?
I don't even know if I had any concept of what to expect. I am getting myself out of the mindset that you have to work from 8 to 5 has been hard, because I'm not naturally somebody who does good work in the morning. Like I'm very much an afternoon, evening, night owl. And so I was talking with my business coach last week, and I was like, I'm struggling to get anything done in the mornings, and I'm beating myself up. And he's like, what would make you happy and make you productive? And he's like, go ride your freaking horse. And I'm like, I can do that. And he's like, yeah, you're in charge of your life. And so I made a little thing that says, I'm in charge, to remind myself that like I'm my own boss and I can make those decisions. So the last few mornings, that's what I've been doing, is I get up and I go ride my horse and I come back and I'm like, getting done all the things. So I don't even know if it's been what I expected, because I didn't have any idea what to expect. So I do keep reminding myself that I cannot look at the comments, Jacob.
I know, especially with Jacob showing up. Yeah, focus here later.
Focus on Anthony. Golly, I have to keep reminding myself, most people who leave their full-time job and take their side hustle to be their full-time job have been building that side hustle on the side for quite a while. And I didn't have that opportunity. So I'm starting from zero, period. And so giving myself some grace to feel those challenges and then pick myself up and keep going, that has been, I guess, a good reminder that, we're all on different journeys. We're all in different boats. They may be similar. They may look similar. But like you said, for you, when you jumped ship in November, you'd been building this side hustle for quite a while. And it got to that point where you had to either go all in on this or not. And so I keep just reminding myself that I'm not starting at the same place as others, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, and I will tell you, one of the biggest surprises for me, and this may sound crazy, but it's been a lot harder than I ever thought it would be. It's the hardest thing I've ever done professionally.
Yeah.
And even to your point, I left with some, upward momentum. I had some traction. I had some inbound. Like I thought, okay, when I leave and I start doing this full time, the floodgates are going to open, and the business is just going to be there, no problem.
Yeah.
And nothing could have been further from the truth. Right? Really.
Right.
There has been a steady stream of leads and interest, and I'm making some money. I'm making some sales. I'm helping people, but it wasn't that floodgate effect that I was hoping for. Right.
Yeah.
And there are days where, as a new business owner, I wake up And I think, okay, you know what? I'm so happy this is what I'm doing. I'm going to help thousands of people over the next couple of years. I'm going to make $1 million. This is the best decision I've ever made. The next day I wake up and I think, oh, what the hell have I done? It's
Right?
literally. And the next day I look at the guy who delivered Domino's pizza and I realized he made a lot more money today than I did. And maybe I should start doing that on the side. Like that's still where my business is.
Yeah.
It's growing. It's got some momentum, but man, it's hard. It's
Mhm.
hard, and you never turn it off in your mind.
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned the 8 to 5 thing, like and I hope at some point that goes away. But like, you wake up in the middle of the night, and even if you're not overly stressed over it, that's what's on your mind. Like, what do I have to need? Well, what do I need to do today to be successful? And it's so easy to get to find yourself going down rabbit holes in your day to day. Doing one particular task that ends up taking you all day, and you realize, oh crap, I got nothing accomplished today except for trying to create a logo or trying to fix this pixel on Facebook or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that I've come to realize, and it took me a lot longer than I wish it would have, is that I cannot do it all by myself. Like I need to outsource a lot more than I expected. And like, that's where I am now, is I'm kind of in that outsourcing stage because even if you've got experience doing, a little bit of the marketing and a little bit of the advertising and a little bit of the copyright, I'm not an expert in any of those things.
Right.
And Ducks Unlimited always had a team of experts who specialize in each one of those deals. And I saw the big picture, but when you actually start doing it yourself and you're hands-on in every single thing, it's just not feasible. And like, that's kind of where I am right now. One of the struggles that I'm facing is outsourcing stuff.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. And I think one of my challenges too is there's so much else going on in my world that requires attention and like timelines and things that it's sometimes hard to focus because for example, I'll focus on building out this training and then my mind will go, oh, did you turn that in on insurance? What about this for the house plan? Did you turn this in? And it's like, oh, and all that stuff is still important, but it's like, when do I compartmentalize, doing, house stuff and work stuff and family stuff? And thank goodness this spring my kids aren't playing sports because, in the winter, it was, basketball season. My son was playing. I was coaching my daughter's team. And so it was like forced to be, present on all those too. I don't say forced in a bad way, but you know, there's all sorts of things going on. And so, so it is a challenge, but we're getting there.
I cannot imagine that level of stress that you've had to take on because of the loss of your house and just, I mean, that's next level stress and strain beyond my comprehension. So my hat's off to you for what you've been able to do in your business and starting it and growing it and dealing with one of the biggest, tragedies that a person can deal with. I was mentioning earlier, the day that your house burned, I was actually, it was December, January. Yeah.
December 20th,
right before Christmas. Yep. And I was, and I've seen a couple of comments here, not knowing your situation. So just wanted to kind of just paint that just a little bit.
Okay.
But so I was sitting in the deer stand. I had both of my kids with me. And like any good hunter, you sit up in the stand and the first thing you do is you start looking on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no deer. You're killing time on your phone.
Yeah.
So it's like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I pull up LinkedIn and I see Chris Hennessy's post. And it was just like a gut punch. I was like, oh, I can't believe this. And, I start seeing the generosity of people pouring in. I see what Chris did with the GoFundMe. I saw what Amy was doing with refreshing this, the need list, the whatever you wanted to call it. And like, I showed my kids in the deer stand, I said, guys, look at this. This is terrible. I said, but what's so cool is this community is coming together and supporting her. And like, they wanted a hour by hour update on your GoFundMe to see how much money had been raised. Like my 14-year-old and my 9-year-old were both just captivated with the fact that, okay, one, Daddy, we're going to donate, right? Yes. And then two, how much is she, are they up to, and do they have enough to buy a house? And it was just, it was amazing to watch the generosity of people on LinkedIn. And it's one of the most impactful real world examples of what having a network can do for you at a time where you think you may never need it. You hope you may never need it. And even when something like that does happen, you don't think of LinkedIn as a source of help, but with the right people behind it. And there were quite a few people, but Chris and Amy, right at the top of that list, that just underscores how powerful this network, this platform can be if you build real relationships with people and not just use it for self-promotion and pitching.
Yeah.
And
no, that's absolutely right. Like, it completely blew my mind. And so, like, when we woke up and my son was like, the house is on fire, like, I left my phone. Like, we got out with, thankfully I had my glasses on my face because otherwise I'd have been blind. But like, didn't have my phone. So I commandeered my mother-in-law's until I could get mine replaced. But like, I didn't see like it in real time as it was happening. And so when I finally got to the point where I could go back and like look at all the posts and all the comments and everything, it genuinely like blew me away, because there was like you said, there's a lot of people that like I knew and a lot of people that I didn't know. And just the overall generosity of people and thoughtfulness, like, it was absolutely overwhelming in the best way. I would have never, ever, I never expect anything from anybody anyway, but I would have never, ever expected the outpouring of support that came from that. So yeah, it was pretty incredible.
As I made my post today saying that we were going to be live tonight, I got a direct message from someone in my network, and I won't say his name. I don't think he's on here tonight. But he asked if you were the same person who experienced the house burning earlier this year. And I said, yes. And I'm paraphrasing his message to me, but he said, I've never contributed to a stranger in a situation like that before. Usually I give to the Red Cross or whatever. But when I read about her situation and all that wrote about who she was, I was compelled to contribute. It wasn't a huge amount, but she wrote and thanked me. And he said, I have to admit, it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. I look forward to opportunities to pay it forward. As I notice them, I hope she's doing well. Please send her my best. And that was just a random connection in my network who, knew that I was going on tonight. So yeah, the power of this platform is pretty incredible.
It is. And one of the things that kind of opened my eyes, I'll never forget, I was looking through the list because people gave on GoFundMe. They sent me money directly on Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. So like tons of places. And as I was looking through all of them and trying to make sure that I thanked everybody, there was one, I can't remember which channel it came through, but it was for $5. And it totally hit differently, because I've been in the position where I thought, like, I'd love to give, but I could probably only give like $5. And so I didn't. But seeing that person did, like, that truly meant a lot, because, if that's all you can give and you still give it, like, that hits differently.
That uplifts your spirit, right?
It does.
Spiritual
lift. It
Yeah.
does. So yeah,
amazing.
There's so much, there's still good humans in the world. And I'm so blessed to be connected with so many of them on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and even those that I don't know. And it still just, gives me the warm fuzzies, because I hate that it happened, but there's been a lot of good that's come out of it too.
And I hated to bring up a sad story that I know you've told over and over so many times, but I know there's people in my network seeing this for the first time. I've seen comments, and honestly, that's going to be part of your LinkedIn story. Like that's a big part of your life, and it can have an impact on others in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem at all. It's something that happened, and I can talk. It's easier to talk about it now. It's a little further in the review mirror. It's still very raw, but $6.
Sure.
Thank you, Jacob.
He's trying to one up the $5 guy.
It does make an impact. So the gal that I talked to yesterday, she was like, "That was you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was me." She's like, "Oh my gosh." Like, I wish I would have screenshotted her face, because the total look of like shock and almost embarrassment about how, like, what her question was that brought it up. Like, it was funny. It's like, you don't have to be embarrassed. Like, it is what it is. It happened, and we're
Right.
moving on from it. It's okay. But yeah, no, I think that's a great illustration of the power of a network and putting good into the world and having good come back to you.
Yep, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Well, we completely veered off of what I had planned on us talking about tonight.
Veer us back in. I'm sorry.
But that's okay. No, it's fine. It's okay. No, it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So I'm completely
What do you want to talk about?
What do we want to talk about?
Chris.
So yeah, we might as well. We'll give it some context.
Yeah, we just went down a really, a tough subject with some emotions. And we discussed whether or not to play this video. I don't know if we really discussed it. So I think you guys just decided we're going to show it at some point. And Chris is really the best person to give the context to, because I wasn't able to make this event. Chris, are you able to come on?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. I'll let you give it the context before we play this piece of art.
So this video was originally made for the second round of the unis, I think, where Anthony was supposed to be a part of the hosting or something, and they played it to be a smart ass. If you know Amy and Ariel and Aaron and all those people that were involved, you know that. But Anthony was scheduled to be on my show last year. I had just started streaming, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask Anthony if he wants to come on the show. He was like, hell yeah, I want to. Let's do it. Well, then like a couple days beforehand, I shot him a DM to confirm that he was still going to do it. He had forgotten about it. In his excitement to finally get approved for LinkedIn Live himself. That's one thing I can say. I got approved for LinkedIn Live before Anthony did. He scheduled his first live at the same time. And so like, I was like, oh my God. So then Nathan, I think he came on the show as a backup and was my guest that night. But I got this video from Amy Wills, and we had a moment of silence for Anthony Jones.
In the arms of an angel, fly away here from this dark, cold hotel room and the endlessness that you feel. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel, make me find some comfort.
That is Sims Tillerson singing that, by the way, y'all. They had it specially recorded.
He's alive. Is he He's just somewhere else. So if you could answer our calls, Anthony, that would be great. We're pretty sure he's alive.
Oh man.
Well, not again.
Oh, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the effort that went in to the production quality of that, with Sims, especially on lead vocals. What a tribute. Yeah.
Oh,
have
that's
a
a good
question.
question, Katie. That is a great question. How do you build your LinkedIn network without sounding creepy? Have had people reach out and have yet to see something that makes me think, yeah, I want to connect with you. And for context, she's my sister-in-law. So
Got it. Awesome.
yeah.
It's a very valid question. So without sounding creepy, so I would say one of the biggest mistakes people make on LinkedIn is they connect and they pitch, right?
Mhm.
That's
Pitch
all they're
slap.
there for, and it's very, very clear what they're after. They don't care about forming a relationship. They don't care about adding value to. They want your money. And pitch slap, yes, thank you. So the best way to build your brand on this network is to serve others, to show up and add value and give more than you ever expect to receive. Whether that is giving away tips and tactics, whether that is sharing your expertise, what you've learned in your career, anything that you think would be helpful for others to know, whether it's directly within your industry or just lessons that you've learned in life, like that's what people connect with. They don't care. The cold sales pitches, they still happen, but they don't work. So, if you show up and you're adding value, the other thing I would say is you need to be proactive in sending connection requests and growing your network, because you never know what that next connection may turn out to be down the road, right?
Mhm.
If Julie and I had never connected, and I'll say this, Julie, I just sent her a note the other day. She didn't realize this until the other day. She was the first person who hired me for her previous company to do a corporate LinkedIn training.
Mhm.
And that was one of the aha moments in my life where I realized, okay, she just reached out to me. This is inbound lead. Okay. And said, hey, will you do a training for my company? I did it and got great feedback. And I was like, wow, okay, maybe I can turn this into a side business. So I just use that as an example. You never know what that next connection could potentially lead to. And if you're putting yourself out there and you're helping others more than you're trying to serve yourself, that's going to build your brand. You're not going to come across creepy. And over time, you're going to get way more inbound connection requests, people following you because they know you're a person of value and not a person who's just out there to sales pitch.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I remember. I did not realize until you sent me that was your first paid gig doing
First company
LinkedIn training.
gig. Yep.
That was
Sure
that
was.
was awesome, and it was really good. So I was working with a professional development group, and they wanted to know more about LinkedIn, and I thought, I know just the guy, and it was really good, and they got lots of good feedback, and they're like, oh, this is, and I've had other people reach out to me since then. They're like, we need to do that again, and I'm not affiliated with that group anymore, so I'm like, well, you're on your own.
I know a guy.
That's exactly like I know a guy. I can hook you up.
No, not in real life.
No, not in real life. No, it was over Zoom. But so are you in like Memphis proper, or is that just like close-ish?
That's close-ish. Close-ish.
Okay.
So I live in Olive Branch, Mississippi. It's just like 30 minutes south of Memphis. Say small town compared to Memphis. But I was born and raised here. My parents had me here in Olive Branch. My mom grew up in Olive Branch. My dad grew up in South Mississippi. And then my wife's family, they're all from just down the road or in Memphis. So like all of our family is nearby. We're very blessed that way. Like I said, when I went to work for Ducks Unlimited, it was a stroke of luck that their national headquarters was based in Memphis. So I've been here, lived here my entire life, with the exception of going off to college at Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi, which is about an hour south of here. So I'm born and bred North Mississippi and Southwest Tennessee my entire life.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll have to look and see if we drove through there, because we went through Memphis and then on our way to Florida over spring break. So I thought, man, if I'd have known he was in Memphis, I put up Anthony. Let's meet up or something. But
next time.
That was a bonsai run, so there wouldn't have been much time for chatting along the way there. But I think it would be fun to do like a road trip and figure out who's in this like loop that we could hit a bunch of people like in person, not actually hit them in person, but be able to meet up in person.
Get a selfie with them or something.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the questions that I was prompted to ask you, knowing you were coming on tonight, was about one of your kids' ball games. And was it 3 cheeseburgers? Like, we need to. I've seen this reference come up several times, and I need to know more.
You don't need to know. That's my personal life. You don't need to get into my personal life. And what I eat at my kids' baseball game is my business. It's none of the business of the press, okay? And I know that came from Chris Hennessy, the man behind the curtain right now, because he's hit me with that over and over since I filmed that video a year ago. But I will not comment on how many cheeseburgers I may or may not have eaten at my kids' baseball game. We go to a lot of baseball games, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The food selection is limited at the concession stand.
Yeah.
You just have to do what you have to do sometimes, and I make no apologies for that, Chris.
That's okay.
So you're not getting your answer.
So was it like all at one time, or it was like an all-day tournament and you had like breakfast cheeseburger, lunch cheeseburger, and dinner cheeseburger?
Let's say that. Let's say it was that way. That sounds better.
Either way,
So I made a TikTok last year. It was a press conference it was post-game press conference of a baseball dad. And that was one of the questions that came up was the mystery of how many cheeseburgers I had. And Chris has really held on to that tightly for the last year. It's been a lot of fun, actually.
Well, he does love snacks. So
He does.
depending on the context, cheeseburger could be a snack. So
Yeah.
Especially if it's one of those concession stand cheeseburgers that's literally like bread, meat, and cheese if you're lucky. Like,
yeah. And my youngest plays competitive baseball, so spring, every weekend, pretty much we're going somewhere. So I can tell you the quality of cheeseburgers at every concession stand in North Mississippi, West Tennessee. I can give you a full rundown if anyone wants that. I'm happy to share that offline. But I'm a connoisseur of the baseball concession stand cheeseburgers.
So how much does a cheeseburger run in northern Mississippi at a concession stand?
Talk about a ripoff, man. Like, I mean, I don't even want to know how much money we've spent at concession stand garbage food over the last 2 years. Some stadiums will let you bring your own cooler in, and we've gotten wise to that. So, we bring our own snacks in the cooler. Some of the burgers are terrible. Some of them are decent, but they're all very, very expensive.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Concession stand is terrible.
Jinx and the new one. What a great question, Chris. We swapped the discussion to pets now.
Pets are good. People connect with pets.
People do. So Jinx is our mutt that we've had for about 6 years. He's 50% Chihuahua, 50% Shih Tzu, and we know that because we had the official DNA test done. We had to do that, of course. So we know what he is. And then about 4 or 5 months ago, my wife shows me a Facebook Live video of a dog kennel in West Memphis, Arkansas, and this poor puppy, this poor little dog that looks like the twin of the dog that we have. And it's in a cage. It's in very, very bad condition. And like I said, I don't want another dog. I don't want another dog. Soon as she hits me with that, like the next day, we're both there. And we bring this animal, this monster home. And long story short is she has come a long way. She's regained her health. She's about six and a half years old. And that is now Jinx's best friend in life. Like, they play together all the time. It's been a really happy story, with one exception, and that is occasionally she will try to maliciously attack my youngest kid.
Oh no!
Yes, just like something snaps in her head. And I think she had, in the home she came from, someone about 9 years old, probably his size, that may have been ugly to her or something. There was some traumatic experience there where if he runs too fast across her path, she will go for the ankles and she'll go for blood. So that's a work in progress. I made the joke to my family the other day. I said, we need to get one of those signs like it's been X number of days since an accident on site.
Yeah.
Like it's been X number of days since Ellie tried to maliciously maul Parker in our own house.
Right.
But yeah, they are getting along together pretty well. And yeah, that's our second rescue that we've had in the last couple of years. And yeah, pets are a big part of our family life for sure.
That's awesome. So she's literally an ankle biter.
Yeah. For a while, she would snap at Jinx, our other dog. She got over that. Now they're buddy. I am the only person in the family that she has not attacked yet. Maybe she knows that I gave the final okay to bring her in. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's our youngest son that she's still got an issue with, and he feeds her treats left and right. It's like he's trying to buy her love and affection. But
Yeah.
for some reason, every once in a while, she's got a loose screw and she loses it.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah,
Animals are so funny. I gotta say, that is one of the best things about working from home or from my camper is being able to have my dogs around or like take a break and
Absolutely.
just go love on my puppies. Like even just having them in the same room is like just relaxing.
like I keep Jinx's bed right here next to my chair, and he'll spend about half his day gracing me with his presence, and then the other half of the day he's playing with Ellie, the other dog. So yeah, I love having the pets here with me. It's a great sense of great way to blow off a little stress when you're worried or whatever, just to be able to reach down and pet them, and it takes a lot of weight off your shoulders.
Absolutely. Are you turkey hunting this spring?
One of the joys of owning your own business is you have very little time for anything else.
True.
And I'll tell you, I did less deer and duck hunting this year than I have in the last couple of years, because when you decide to start your own business in November at the heart of duck and deer season, I had to put all of my focus on that. Now in the spring, it's all about our son's baseball schedule. So turkey hunting has not been a priority this year, but it's one of my biggest passions, and hopefully we get this business off the ground and my son starts to give me a little time to play turkey hunt in the next couple of years. Hope to get back to it. But what about you?
I got some turkey hunting gear for Christmas, but haven't been out in the woods. So
Not yet.
maybe another season.
My dad sent me a picture of a huge bird that he killed a couple of weeks ago, just to kind of rub it in a little bit. But I've certainly missed going with him this year.
Yeah. So we did talk about. Oh, are you talking about the charity ball, Nathan? That fundraiser thing. And so yeah, so you meet people online, and you get this like vision of what they look like. But until you see each other in person, you don't really know like how tall or short people are. And so Amy's 5'8", I'm 5'7", and Evelyn, April, and Ariel are all like 5'2". And so yeah, Amy and I feel like giants around them. But that was a great experience to go and meet them in real life, see them in person. And yeah, even though we are a foot taller than them, it's still fun.
I enjoyed watching the pictures and the events leading up to that. And even though I've never met any of y'all in real life, I thought it was just really cool that you all had gotten together and we're doing that and doing it for a charitable cause. That was really cool.
And I tell you what, like, I've never been a person that has like close girlfriends or been on a girls' trip or anything like that. And we came together and it was like we'd done it for years. Like we all just clicked and had the best time. So that was absolutely one of the best experiences ever, and a much needed getaway at that point in my life.
Sure. So
yeah, that was good. Shannon has a great question too. So I I don't know about you, but like I have a spreadsheet, or no, it's not a spreadsheet. It's a Google Doc that's I like throw ideas in and like half-baked ideas. So on some days I'll write something in advance and I'll go copy paste and post it. But for me, most of it is not written in advance or shelved.
Yeah,
What about you?
it's a really good question. Most of mine, so like you, I have it's just a Microsoft Word document that lives on my desktop, and it's just called LinkedIn Ideas. And it's really a bulleted list. I'll have a glimpse of an idea of something I might want to post about. I have a folder on my camera roll. So if I see something just in my day-to-day life and I take a picture of it, I put it in that folder, and it may be weeks before I can kind of flush that out into a post. But as you create more and more content, you're always on the lookout for new ideas. It just kind of becomes second nature, if you will, and it becomes a whole lot easier. So on the days where I sit down, where I want to post something on LinkedIn, there are some days where the creative juices are flowing and I'm like, I can knock out a post in 5 minutes. There are other days where it's like I'm looking at a blank wall and I have zero ideas. Then I'll go back to that Word document or that camera roll folder, pick out something. Sometimes I can't even come up with a post at that point. And when I do, I just remind myself, you don't have to post today. Like, go spend your time engaging on other people's posts, because that's as big a part of building your personal brand as putting out your own content. And a lot of days I get more return, more engagement and so forth just by leaving those comments than I would have ever gotten by posting, making my own post.
I think that's one important thing that we didn't really talk about tonight, but the importance of commenting on others' content, and how valuable that is for getting yourself out there, as opposed to posting your own, like you said, doing things for others versus doing things for ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so many people are reluctant to post their own content. They may never feel completely comfortable doing that, and that's okay. But as I tell, a lot of my clients, you can start building your brand if you just make a conscious effort to leave comments, 4 or 5 comments a day on content that is relevant to your job, to your industry, to the people that you help. And if you do that, you're going to be seen as someone who is contributing to the larger conversation on LinkedIn. And as you do that consistently, you're going to get more views to your profile. You're going to get more connection requests. And again, people are going to see you as someone who is helping others through supporting their post. And I guarantee you, as a content creator, and I'm sure Julie can back me up on this, we remember and appreciate the people who show up consistently to support our content. You start to develop a tribe, for lack of a better term, of people who support your content, and you're going to be much more likely to reciprocate that and support them when they do start posting. So yeah, start showing up and commenting on other people's posts. Make it a meaningful comment, not 2 or 3 words, and that will go a long, long way in building your brand. And the side benefit to that is you're going to start generating ideas for your own content the more you engage on other people's posts, because you're going to see what's working, what's flowing, and it's kind of a snowball effect. It's going to benefit you in more ways than you can imagine.
Yep, absolutely. So we are past the 1 hour mark now, which I'm not surprised that happened. When you have a good conversation going, the time goes fast. Nathan says if we ever invite him anywhere with lots of people, he's going to be busy that day. Thanks, Nathan. We love you too.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Anthony, for coming tonight and sharing your wisdom. And Michelle is here. Hi, Michelle. She's watching on Facebook. So yeah. Thank you for being here. If you guys are just joining us for the first time, I do these every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. Next week, I've got, what is next week? Daniel Kading, who is a content creator on LinkedIn and also killing it on TikTok. Between him and Sven, I keep thinking, God, I've got to get on TikTok, but that's a different story for a different time. So thank you.
You gotta get on
again.
TikTok. You do. You absolutely have to.
I know. I have an account. And I posted 2 videos. One of like my kids wrecking on the sled, and then the puppies. So here, while we're still here, so here's a question. Thinking about TikTok. So this morning when I was getting ready to go riding, I was thinking I should take video of this and like make a TikTok out of it. Oh, hi, Kindlin. Michelle and I used to work together, and she's one of my very, very dear friends, and I love her kids. So, hi, girls. So when you're going about your day, like, do you purposely like think, oh, I could make a TikTok about this, and then like picture and video everything that you're doing, or what is your process for creating those?
My process?
Mm-hmm.
It is very sporadic and not very well organized at all. But what I have seen, it's funny you mentioned Sven. I had a consultation with Sven this morning.
Yeah.
He was helping me with some TikTok ads, and I could talk about TikTok for the next hour. I'm not going to, but like TikTok and LinkedIn are the 2 channels that are left in the social media world where you can get massive organic reach, and TikTok even more so than LinkedIn. And I will tell you, I am doubling down my efforts on TikTok for my marketing my business, because I realize there are a lot of 30-plus-year-old people in the B2B world who are on that platform. You don't have to dance and sing to be effective. And if you are, once you kind of get the rhythm of creating content, if you're willing to invest in the ad platform, the ads on there are as cheap as Facebook was back in 2014. So you can reach a lot of people with paid ads for minimal budget. And like that's one of the things that I'm doubling down on over the next year. I've got 2 accounts. I have a personal account and then a LinkedIn marketing account. And I'm still kind of juggling, trying to figure out how to fully leverage the platform. But there is big opportunity there for sure. And it's just it's fun. It's fun. It's a platform where anyone can go viral at any time if you've got the right content, even if you have 2 or 3 followers. I mean, it's literally the way the For You page works. You can. So a lot of opportunity on TikTok.
Wow, Angelique, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, you could ride horses on TikTok and have your own account right there just on horses.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of my challenge is I'm also all over the place. Like in my previous role, I did a lot of different things, wore a lot of different hats. And then even now it's like, okay, I do customized training, but I'm also a farm girl and I love to talk about agriculture and things. And so trying to figure out what to share is sometimes a challenge, because it's like, I enjoy sharing stuff about the farm life and of course cow pictures. And even my video from Friday when I was riding my horse got tons of engagement. And so it's like, I want to share those things, but is it really, tying back to what I do? And then it is in a sense. But I get hung up on that sometimes, like what I should be sharing, especially if I do go to another platform like TikTok.
One thing I've learned about TikTok is you need to be as niche specific as you possibly can. And it's okay to have 2 or 3 accounts, but each account needs to be specific to just one topic. And like I have my personal account, that's where I've got most of my views and followers, but it's been all over the place. It's like my kid playing baseball. It's me trying to do funny things or whatever. I don't really have a niche there, but that's why I created a separate channel for LinkedIn marketing, where that's all I do is provide LinkedIn tips, tactics, personal branding. So think of it in that standpoint of being very niche specific when you do create those, those different categories. That's what seems to work the best on LinkedIn.
Okay. Very good. All right. We're at an hour 10. I'm going to cut us off. So thank you again, Anthony. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Julie.
Join us again next week, same time, same place, for more conversations about LinkedIn content, probably a lot of TikTok, and we will see you guys then. Have a great evening. Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Chris.